Welcome to Unshakeable, the podcast that shares stories of resilience in the face of life's toughest challenges. I'm your host, Siviwe Shakes Soizwapi, and each week we dive into real conversations that not only inspire but help us grow, offering insights on how to navigate our own struggles with strength and purpose. Because resilience isn't about being unbreakable, it's about standing firm when life tries to shake you. This is Unshakeable. Let's get into it.
Hello, Unshakeable family. Welcome back to Southern Sun Hotel de Waag in Stellenbosch. I just want to say thank you to them once again for opening up the space for us. I also want to say thank you to Mountain Falls Water and Aquabox, just keeping us hydrated here on set. I should probably offer this incredible Aquabox water in a box product to our guest today because I think it suits him greatly with all his adventures that he does in life. Speaking about our guest today, we have the captain of Cyanosis Adventure Racing Team. He's actually regarded as one of the South Africa's toughest and most experienced and successful athletes. He's come first. He's led the team to become the first South African team to win an adventure race, World Series race outside of Southern Africa, and I think that was in Paraguay. He's done over 110 adventure races locally and internationally, 7 adventure racing world championships, and multiple adventure racing World Series wins locally and internationally. And he's ranked in the top 10 of the world rankings and has more than 8 Cape Epic finishes. Today, we're going to go through what he goes through when he's in the middle of those mountains, navigating on mountaintops and through rivers. It's a story about faith, grit, perseverance, and just to make sure that we're all on board with what he does. Today on Unshakeable, we have Clinton Mackintosh.
Oh, it's so good to be here. We spent a lot of time together. It's the first time we're actually having a proper sit down.
I know. What they also don't know is that I've been kind of hounding you and trying to find you to finally make this happen. I'm glad we can.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. And
how does it feel to hear that you are one of the world's toughest and most experienced or successful adventure racers or athletes actually?
So no, I think it's always humbling to hear. I think that's first and foremost. We've had a top 6 ranking in the world for quite a couple of years. Cyanosis hasn't raced for the last 2 years or so. The last race we did was the World Champs that was hosted in South Africa for the first time in 20 years. South Africa hosted the Adventure Racing World Champs out Paraguay. So an amazing experience. We had so many international teams coming to visit South Africa. It was a massive event. And geez, what an experience. I mean, we've always had to go and travel overseas so much to race these World Series races. So it was actually quite special to race a world race in South Africa. Because still, we've been very privileged, and it is a privilege, to go race all around the world. The same as you've gone to go and play rugby all around the world, but playing or racing in South Africa is still one of the best experiences you can possibly have.
So true. We actually have so many stops all over the world, but we have this stop in Cape Town, which is one of the best.
I know. Listen, still, out of all these times, I think the only Sevens game I've ever come to watch was one of the games you had Paul Roos when you were actually playing against one of the other teams as a trial game. So I actually need to come and watch Sevens.
Nah, you're more than welcome. This year we're back on the 6th and the 7th of December.
I will definitely be there for that.
So it will be great to have you there.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
For people that don't know adventure racing on its own, I think you'll touch into what you actually do in the sport, but I just want to hear how your journey began.
So, geez, that is actually quite. It's quite a memory. It's so long ago. So I come from a cycling background, so cycling comes naturally to me. So I spent a lot of time on the bike, and then a friend of mine said that he thinks I have the right mentality for this sport. Now, back in those days, I didn't actually know what adventure racing was, and now we're talking 1998, like back in the 2000s, early 2000s. Give my age away, yeah. So my first adventure race was a total disaster. Wow. I mean, we went to go and do, back in those days, there was a Mazda Drifter series. Wow. That was, back in the old days. And this first race I ever did, a proper adventure race, was done in Lesotho. We arrived over there, and it was pouring with rain, and actually, we even couldn't get to the start line because the roads were flooded. All of a sudden, my first race, my first experience in what this is about to do. I had no clue.
I won't ask you how old you were, but yeah.
No. The maths is very difficult.
Just think of Mazda, then you'll put
the Mazda Drifter series. So, I didn't know what it was. So when he said to me, "Listen, it's going to be a 200-kilometer race,"
wow.
I thought, from my perspective, it was a Cape Argus. I mean, it's 90 odd k's. It should take us 5-6 hours to do this event.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it was a total disaster.
Did you know, though, what you're going to do? Like, what if you ended up swimming or...
No, so like adventure racing, the guy said to me, we're going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of cycling, a little bit of trekking. I thought, how bad can it be? And then you go to the shops and you go and buy a whole lot of stuff. You don't know how long you're going to be out there. I arrived there with a packet of fizzes, a packet of raw Viennas, and a whole lot of sweets, and I thought I was golden.
You stopping by at the shop, this is all part of the race?
No, this is before the race. So I'll tell you, I think what's important to note is what is adventure racing.
Yes.
So adventure racing is a team of 4. 3 guys, typically the makeup is 3 guys, 1 woman, always one of the opposite sex. It's super important.
Stock standard.
That's a stock standard. That's the competitive racing category. You can have, like, back in those days, there was a race called the Eco Challenge. An Eco Challenge had a Playboy team that was 3 girls, 1 guy. So as long as you have one of the opposite sex, you are in the official category. Typically, the strongest and the fastest teams are 3 guys, 1 woman, and you have to finish together. You stay together not more than 50 meters apart. Paddling, cycling, and running are the main disciplines.
Okay.
And when we're racing in Europe and stuff like that, you would have a bit of rollerblading, and that was quite an experience for a South African team.
I'd love to see you do that.
And then you have ropes work. So there's abseiling, there's ascending ropes, and all sorts of things up and down mountains. And it's non-stop. From the moment that clock starts and you run out of the start line till the time you cross the finish line, the clock does not stop. So which means if you're racing for 4 or 5 days, you calculate when you sleep. And you're not sleeping in bungalows and hotels, and you are sleeping on the side of the road in the rain. We've slept in animal shelters. I mean, in one race we were in Portugal, we slept literally in a pig closed thing with...
Oh my goodness.
It was horrid. It was absolutely horrid, but that's to keep out of the elements and stuff like that. You sleep where you can, and you'll be amazed on what you are capable of doing and taking yourself away from all these luxuries that we have.
Yeah.
So it is quite an experience. And you'll quickly learn what you're made of when you're thrown in the deep end. So this race my very first Lesotho race, I didn't even finish.
Wow.
We were out in the mountains with my team. We got lost. By the time we actually got to the first transition, because how the race works is when you're racing, you are very self-sufficient. And we had seconds in those time, and those seconds would be at a transition.
Yeah.
So you would change discipline. So the race would start from a trekking leg, then you would go from a trekking leg to a biking leg, and your bike box and your seconds would be at a transition, but you've got to collect a whole lot of checkpoints along the way. Yeah. So think of it like a massive Easter egg hunt, where you're working off a map and compass, no GPS, you've got a navigator, and he's got to navigate you to a specific checkpoint.
Got you.
And that is day and night. So it's all very well looking at a topographical map in the daylight, try and do that at night. So now when it's dark, there's just stars everywhere and the moonlight if you're lucky, and you're trying to look at where you got to go. So adventure racing is a total team sport and it is a complete self-sufficient wilderness adventure.
Yeah.
That is typically what it is.
Yeah.
But the first race we didn't even finish. We got such a hiding.
200 Ks, eh?
200 Ks, we got into that transition, and the leading team was already on leg 4-5.
It was probably those Viennas, I think.
No, listen, I can categorically tell you right now, I have not touched a Vienna. I've just got back onto fizzes. And what else did we have? We had the energy bars. I promise you, I do not eat energy bars anymore. So it was quite an experience.
Before Cyanosis became this world-class team, can you just tell us about the early days of the team?
So I think it's Cyanosis came about by like-minded people. I think it's very important. You're putting 4 people into an environment that is extremely difficult, and not everybody peaks at the same time. There's so many similarities between any sport, and especially adventure racing, than there is into a corporate environment or family environment or all that sort of thing, is because it's very important to have like-minded people pushing for the same goal.
I got you.
So when Cyanosis formed, originally it was a couple of doctors. That's where the Cyanosis name came from.
Yes.
And then the team progressed, and the team started becoming more focused on what we were looking to achieve. We put like-minded people with the same objective together. Yeah. And we kept that team together and managed to where we became so successful is we remained consistent. Consistent team, consistent mindset, and consistent goals.
Yeah.
And that's where we became a successful world team, is with those fundamentals.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can assure you, it's not always easy.
I'm sure.
One of the biggest challenges, because we are a South African team, is traveling in the world. But we spent a lot of time racing on the World Series. You're taking so much gear with you. The expense, all the gear that's going with you. You're taking bikes. You're taking compulsory gear. You're taking everything.
You need it for all the days.
Yeah, adventure racing, I think, was important to tell the audience is, you are self-sufficient. You're carrying everything you need. You're carrying your food. You're carrying everything. As the Adventure Racing World Series progressed, as it has to where it is today, is seconding and support teams became non-existent. Now you're coming into these races where you are 100% self-sufficient. So you're going into a transition and you're building your bike out of a box, and then you're taking the food that you need, putting it into your backpack, taking the kit that you need for the next leg, and then going on the next leg, totally self-sufficient.
So what does it look like these days? Surely you can't do all of that out of a pigsty.
Well, no, that hasn't changed, I promise you. Some of the races, I think the most memorable race was actually, there's lots of races, but the one Adventure Racing World Series race we did also in South Africa, which was out on the KZN side by Expedition Africa crew. We did a race through the Transkei. Was it the Transkei or where's
Drakensberg?
No, it wasn't Drakensberg, but we slept in a jail. I'm not even joking. We came up with one massive...
That's not the Aliwal North one you told me about? Not?
No, it wasn't Aliwal North. Jeez, there's lots of adventure races, Aliwal North. The Aliwal North one, where I realized for the first time in my entire life, at the age of 20 odd years old, back in those days, I gotta remember, that the rivers in that actually freeze.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's freezing that side.
We have been fortunate to race around the world, as I said, but one of the coldest experiences I've ever had was in the Free State.
Wow, no, that's
incredible. I mean, the Free State, when that gets, it's either extremely hot or it is extremely cold.
Yeah.
And we raced in Patagonia. Patagonia is also an unbelievable experience. And that is snow, ice glaciers, all sorts of things, wind. It is the most unbelievable experience to go to Patagonia. I mean, that particular race, we paddled, we raced Ponta Ponta d'Or down, I think, and then crossed the Magellan Straits onto the Terra del Fuego Island and raced on that island for 5-6 days. I can't remember. And he has the South African team that is racing through snow blizzards, ice glaciers, all sorts of things.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you now with the jail story.
The jail story. So we slept in a jail, and it was at the top of the mountain on one of the mountain passes in one of these villages. There was a jail there, and we're coming around, and we were exhausted. We were absolutely exhausted, and there was this police station there, and you could just think of this mist has settled in and all that sort of thing. There's this police station over there. We knocked on the door, said, listen, we just want to come out of the elements a little bit, and they said, listen, you're welcome to come in, you can sleep in the jail. So now, and I promise you, that's the first time I've ever been in a jail. Hey?
Thank goodness.
And then still, the policeman helps us in, and he was very friendly, super friendly. I mean, you talk about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and you get these smelly, dirty people coming into this police station with your bicycles. And I still remember, now we all bunkered down in this police cell, and then the door starts creaking a little bit. I put my kit bag on the side of the door to make sure the door doesn't close. I didn't want any issues on the way out. But I mean, the experiences have been absolutely phenomenal.
For sure, and I'm glad you touched on the pigsty thing. I'm glad you're talking about jails and snow and blizzards and icing rivers. People regard adventure racing as a superhuman thing. So when did you realize that, hey, I've got the mental and physical capabilities to do this or take this?
It actually gives me goosebumps because I think what I realized is that you keep pushing yourself, and I was actually at a talk in Johannesburg now recently with some ultra trail runners and all that sort of thing, and the topic of that race was people do hard things. Everybody does hard things. It's just a matter of what is their perception of hard. Some people's perception of hard is doing a marathon. Some people's perception of hard is going to go do an ultra trail marathon or ultra trail run 160 Ks or something like that. Everybody has a perception of what is hard. And I think from my side, and what keeps driving me from an adventure racing perspective, is I haven't found that point where I think I'm totally broken and I can't finish. So for my mentality is, even if we're going out there to win, and I still have that drive, even today, I have that drive, I'm there to win. I want to win these races. And that is a big thing for me. The point comes also to the other side. We're in a team sport, hey? I can only manage, and we can only, our old mindset was the team moves as fast as the slowest person. And you know this from a team perspective.
Absolutely.
Your team doesn't perform to the weakest person in the team. The team performs to the collective. Everybody puts together. So when we're racing, if somebody's taking strain, what's the first thing we do? Is we take their backpack. We take off the load. So I'll tell you a story. We were racing Eco Challenge. Eco Challenge is on Amazon Prime. It's a beautiful documentary. Well, not a documentary, but a race. 10 hours of your life if you do decide to watch it. It was hosted by Bear Grylls and Mark Burnett, the Survivor director. We, myself, Darren Berry, Nicholas Mulder, and Sarah Fairmaid from New Zealand, we raced this race. We were pushing extremely hard on a paddling section, the first paddling, to keep up with the top teams. Got to the one island, and we had like a 26-kilometer run on that island to do. And it's Fiji. We were out in Fiji racing this race. And it was super humid, super hot. And we started running. I could see these wheels are coming off very quickly for me. So then I drop to the back, and I'm now puking. Like this engine is now running very hot. So I was totally toast. And the thing with me is, and I know this mentally because we've been doing it so long, is that I know I'm going to recover. I know it hurts now. It sucks. It's super hard. It's difficult, and I'm past the red line. But mentally, I know I'm going to recover. And the team is not going to slow down. I promise you, the team doesn't slow down and say, Mac, let's sit under this tree, let's take a moment. The team is still, I remember Nick up at the front there, he's still going. And now, Sarah, that was racing, the lady in our team takes my backpack.
Yeah.
And my backpack's heavy, hey? So I've got team compulsory stuff in there. I've got all my own stuff plus team compulsory stuff. I'm now toast.
Yeah.
Sarah's carrying my backpack, and about an hour later, Darren pops. So now Darren's also taking strain. Nick takes
same time now. There's two
just on the same run, on the same island. Now you've got two of the guys that are technically workhorses, because you've got a navigator, you've got the lady that pretty much does make sure that the team's working, team's eating. So she does all the logistical stuff and the tough stuff for the team. And then you've got two donkeys, if you want to put it like that, that carry all this stuff. And I picked the short straw to be a donkey. So then Darren and I both blow. Nick's carrying Darren's backpack up a mountain. Now we're going up, vertical. We're passing teams, but we are now proper toast. But the team hasn't slowed down. So we are moving as fast as the collective. Sarah's carrying my backpack. Nick's carrying Darren's backpack. We're sticking together. We're working together. The team knows that we are going to recover. We are going to recover. They know us.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things to take away from these types of sports is that these guys, you're racing with people that know you, that know that you are going to do your very best to give everything to achieve what the team's there to do.
Yeah.
And then eventually we get down to over the mountain, we get to the next transition. Now we're about to paddle, and this is dark. This is like, I don't know, 12 o'clock at night or something like that. We're about to get into these traditional Fijian boats that you paddle on the one side. Like it's got a sail up, and they're like 200-300 kilograms. These boats are horrible things.
Midnight, you have to be on the water.
And we're now paddling in the sea, hey?
Wow.
So Fiji's made up a whole lot of islands.
Yes.
And so we're now paddling back to the main island from this one island. And now Nick is looking at, and we're going through sandbanks and all sorts of things to try and navigate our way back into the sea and onto the mainland. But the takeaway there is that the team moves as fast as the collective.
For you guys to get to that level where you all understand that there's these two that are taking strain, and you know that they will recover. How do you get to that level where, because I'm sure at some stage or for some other teams, some people are like, okay, these two are now falling behind, okay, there goes our race. How do you guys get to that level where there's two struggling but you still have to keep moving, especially as a captain? So
the thing is, I learned very early on in my adventure racing careers, everybody takes strain. I don't care how strong you are. It might not be this race, it might not be the next race. At some point, everybody takes strain. And that goes with everything. That goes in your personal life, in your corporate life, in your sporting life, everything. At some point, somebody's going to take strain. And this is what I love about team sport. And no disrespect to any Ironmen that are out there, but I love the fact of getting a team across a finish line. The team aspect of arriving across the finish line outweighs everything. Me as an individual, I'll drill myself to the ground, and what have I achieved? If you're trying to help and working as a team to get across the finish line, that's the biggest thrill for me, if I can put it like that. But to answer your question, when it says we train a lot together, we know each other, and we believe in each other. I think that's one of the biggest things that we have is we believe. Like I could tell you, Nick and I have raced 20 years together. And make no mistake, they're not always the best races where we don't, because Nick is an incredible navigator. He's world renowned. He is one of the top navigators and orienteers in South Africa and the world. I will follow that guy everywhere. And let me tell you, when I'm following, it doesn't mean that he's always going the right direction. And I'll tell you a story. Is that we were racing world champs in the US, in Wyoming. And this is probably, besides Paraguay, so we won Paraguay. I'll tell you a story about that as well. But that win is not one of the best races for me. One of the best races is this particular race in Wyoming. Is that we were racing, and we were right up there with the top guys, and we were sitting on a mountain looking for a checkpoint, and it was dark and all that sort of thing. I was looking at the map, and when I look at the map, you know we have got serious problems. Because if you ever see
it to the lady.
No, listen, she'd probably do a better job. So Nick is primary navigator, and then we had Nathan that was with us at that time, Nathan Thompson, he was racing with us, and they both looked at the map, and we were convinced we were in the right place. And then it started getting light, sunlight started coming up, and Nick said, guys, we're on the wrong mountain. Now, the wrong mountain, and we've been there for like 6 hours looking for this checkpoint. We convinced ourselves that this creek is where we have to be, this checkpoint has to be there. Nick says we're on the wrong mountain. So we were all, like, I remember that feeling even still today. You now got to change your mindset. Now we've lost loads of time. We now need to get back off this mountain and head to the proper place we're supposed to be. Now we've got teams running past us, and we are now going up to try and get this checkpoint. Nobody said anything. Like, the team didn't say anything. Nobody was moaning at Nick and Nathan or anything like that. We hit that checkpoint, and then we just carried on racing. But the thing is, we were like 24th or 30th or something like that. I don't always remember the positions, but we were far down.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything, but everybody got on with what they needed to do. We climbed up to get so high back up in that world champs. Nobody needed to say anything.
Yeah.
Everybody pushed and everybody worked to do what they needed to do. And that race still today, that feeling, crossing that finish line outweighs so many things for me. Hey,
that's so incredible, because like I said, you need to, it's a lot of work, and you said as well that it's a lot of time together, trust, to get to that level, because we know that, okay, we just stuffed up, but there's still a job at hand, and it takes some time for you to get there. I wanted to ask what you think the mindset, or what's going through their mind is, but I actually answered myself, because you guys are so tight-knit, and you're not worried about what happened. You focused on the solution of what you're going to do next.
Don't get me wrong, it's not always that case. I promise you. I'm sure some of my teammates would say, I mean, you're taking 4 people and putting them into a sleep-deprived environment, because one of the biggest things as well is in these adventure races, we can race, and particularly for that Wyoming race, I think we raced for 4 days or 100 and something hours, and we slept for 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
So you're now taking 4 people into an environment where we don't know when we're going to finish, how we're going to finish, what discipline we're going to finish on, and we don't even know where we're finishing.
Sure.
So now you're dealing with fatigue, you're dealing with sore feet, sore this, because your body takes a hammering.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing with all these other fundamentals that are creeping in, because this is what makes adventure racing is that you don't know when you're going to finish, you don't even know where you're going to finish.
Yeah.
And trying to get those 4 people across a finish line is exhilarating. It really is.
For me, what makes you Unshakeable is because of the age that you do. I'm going back to your age, and I'm pleading that you maybe reveal your age, so that people can understand why I say you are this unshakable human being, to do what you're doing at your age and still looking like you flipping 24.
I'm actually 48 years old at the moment. But I mean, adventure racing, I think the more mature you are and the older you get, you have the mindset that, and I was talking to somebody now recently about that, and I think we're coming up into a society where to quit is easy, because you're going to just hit the next thing.
Yes.
I come from a mindset and an environment where I've started something, I've got to finish it.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter if I finish at the back of the field, I've still got to finish it. I do not, and in our racing, and everybody that I've raced with, they have the same mentality. If we're not going to win the race, I'm not pulling out. We're still going to cross that finish line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that, I think we've got to go back to that sort of thing. Is if you start something, you finish it.
Yeah.
And that's what I try and we try and live that from my boys' perspective.
Yeah.
I got twin boys. They're now 18.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also quite something. That's an experience on its own.
For sure.
But the thing is, like, start something, finish it, because only after you finish something will you realize if it's for you or not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the other thing that, yes, I also have so many questions for you, but that's the other thing that's so unshakable about you, is that you've got these two boys and you doing such an incredible job with them.
Sure.
When you came to a point where you are like, and maybe you can share the story, okay, now I have to take these boys at this fragile age they are, and I have to raise them into good men. How was that mindset change for you, and how did you take it on?
So that is, a lot of things changed very quickly. The boys lost their mom at 14, so you don't. That was a big step.
For sure.
Yeah, so you kind of were forced into that. You have two scenarios. You either go a scenario that it becomes totally disastrous, or you have to step up. So that's the biggest thing. You have to step up.
Yeah.
You know, you're taking two children and two guys that have turned into incredible men, but I mean, that is a lot to them as well. It's not to me, and it's also the people that have been influential in their lives since their mom passed away.
Yeah.
So, that's also a big thing, and that's where it comes to my focus may have changed quite a bit in the last 2 years, is in spending the time with them, because we were talking earlier, racing and being a professional sportsman like yourself, there's massive sacrifice.
Massive.
There's a lot of selfishness that is in it, which is not necessarily selfishness from a self-gain perspective. And in your particular, it's your job.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily get paid to adventure race, so there is a lot of selfishness in that. But I mean, you're away for 3 weeks, so you've got to take a mature look on this and say, where is this?
Yeah.
And at what point do you say, okay, the timing needs to be right to go away and race for 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. Good balance.
There is good balance, but I was actually talking to an Uber driver. I was in Joburg yesterday, I was talking to an Uber driver. One of the biggest things, and it's amazing you get these conversations with Uber drivers.
Guys are therapists.
Sometimes they are good. But the thing is, when you talk about upbringing and you talk about that sort of thing, it doesn't take an individual to raise kids anymore. It still takes a village. Do you know what I mean? There's so many people involved in that. And it's the same with sport, and it's the same with racing, and it's the same. I may have achieved certain things and all that sort of thing, but I couldn't have done one thing without my teammates. Not one thing. I would not have finished one race without them. Because in order to finish a race, we're not collecting participation medals. We are finishing races with 3 other people. I couldn't have done anything without them. On the lows during these races that I may have been in, they might have been stable, they might have pushed me through, or they've had such a massive influence. And it's the same with personal life, and it's the same with a professional life. You have core people that you fall back on heavily. And it doesn't matter what happens from that perspective. You may not talk to them every day or something like that, but let me tell you, when things go pear-shaped, they're there.
100%, and that's a good life lesson on its own. What has adventure racing then taught you in terms of raising your boys?
I don't know if it's taught me anything about raising my boys. Maybe resilience, and my boys are incredible. I mean, they've taught me a lot in the last 3 years. These young men have taught me an absolute. I mean, I can't even tell you how proud I am of them.
They're learning so much from you, yet you're learning from them as well.
I actually believe I learn from them, to be honest. It's not, and I'm still learning. It doesn't matter how old I am, I learn every day. Adventure racing has taught me that you need to push through, because only once you push through, you're going to actually work out where you're at and who you are. So times are tough. Times can be very hard. You're in dark places, very dark places at some point where you actually don't know where you're going.
2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. So, an adventure racing is not necessarily in the same thing, but from an adventure racing perspective, and I think this is for any ultra sport or any big sport that is putting you to your limit, is that it is forcing you to be present. You are present. It is forcing you to be present.
Yeah.
We are so. I think in the world that we grow up now, we are not necessarily present all the time. In the boys' lives and that sort of thing, I was forced to be very present, and you have to be present. And I think adventure racing taught me that. Adventure racing taught me, and although not intentionally, it probably forced me to do that, because when your feet are sore, when your body is sore, and when you think that you don't have enough to give, you are pushed. If you want to get to that finish line, you better get a move on. You got to be present. You got to rely on the people that are around you, because it's not a selfless sport.
What would you say it taught you as a person? Like you say, you're around people, and you have to implement certain values about yourself, or certain values to make the team chemistry work. What has it taught you about you?
I think adventure racing, I think being kind is something I've got from a more mature perspective. I think when you're young and you're gung-ho and all you want to do is get out there and race and all that sort of thing, because like, to answer your question from earlier on, is like, what made me realize that I was good at adventure racing? I can suffer. I know I can suffer. So I know that I know that I could get to a finish line. I might be suffering to get to that finish line, but I'm always going to get to the finish line. If you asked me today, and Epic was on the weekend, Cape Epic, I'll ride Cape Epic. The only difference is, if I want to do well at Cape Epic, I've got to put the work in. So my mindset is very much of the belief that I'm going to get to a finish line. If I want to get to the finish line successfully with the team objective, I've got to put the work in. And it goes the same with life, and the same with my boys, and the same with work. If I want to get to a goal, or to get to a place where I want to be successful, I know I'm going to get to a specific point or something like that, because you just do the basics. But if you want to get to a point where you are doing the best that you possibly can, you've got to put the groundwork in.
What would you tell someone that, you mentioned that starting something and finishing it, and we are facing a lot of situations where we get stuck in being comfortable, and adventure racing is definitely
takes you out of your comfort zone.
Takes you absolutely out of your comfort zone. What would you say to someone that is hanging on to their comfort zone, just to kind of push them into doing something that will, and the benefits of just stepping out of that comfort zone?
Adventure race has really taught me. Adventure racing has taught me that I firmly believe this. Everybody is capable of achieving something. I believe everybody can do an adventure race. And the problem is, what's stopping you? Your mindset is stopping you. And we've seen all these promotional things, and we've seen all these motivational talks. Get out of your mindset and mindset. I promise you, when you're forced to go into a position, you will realize very quickly, and you have to have the right people around you. The right people around you will make you achieve things that you didn't even believe you could get to. And that's one of the biggest things with team sports. And from a business perspective and a family perspective, is the right people. Surround yourself with the right people. And I believe that. I believe that I've been very fortunate to have the right people around me all the time.
I wanted to ask you, with Cyanosis, all that you're doing, obviously the team chemistry that goes with it, and you guys being a team. I mean, you've worked up your repertoire for years now, and you've become the successful team that you are. As a group, what else, or as a team rather, what else do you guys want to achieve? I know as individuals, you go in there, you want to test your mental toughness. You want to see how far you can go, or how much you can hold up in tough situations. Now, this group, what is I'm probably trying to ask their vision and what they try to get out of athletes and people that join this team. What do they try to get out?
I think first and foremost, we need to get most of them out of retirement. Cyanosis has been racing for like 22 years. Wow. I mean, it's one of the oldest adventure racing teams in the country. Nick has struggled with a bit of injuries. He also hasn't raced the same. I think he used me as an excuse to give up a little bit of racing for the last year or so. But everybody's doing something. We've got mountain biking. Nick is very involved in orienteering, very involved in the South African Orienteering Federation. We also have Tracy. So Tracy Campbell is the lady that's been racing with us. Her and her husband run a training academy called Aspire. Yeah. So they are putting a whole lot of athletes and all sorts of things through programs. So everybody's still remaining active. Although I spoke to Nick recently, and we will be back on the scene next year. So amazing. In the sense where my boys are finishing up school, they're writing finals at the moment. Yeah. That gets me a little bit freedom, whereas Nick has still got a youngster on his side. So we'll need to manage that because, life happens. Yeah. You've got to make the time to... We are not professional athletes. We're not getting paid necessarily to do these sports. And if you are doing these sports, you are sacrificing family time. You're sacrificing business. You're sacrificing something. But the thing is, you have to do something. Because if you don't do something, you are not pushing yourself. And for, I think people nowadays comfort zone. You spoke about that earlier. Once we sit in a comfort zone, it's the most dangerous place to be. Because then you get complacent, and complacency could lead to all sorts of other problems. So if you are doing, and it doesn't matter what you do, you've got to do something. And it's outdoor adventure racing is obviously my drug, if you want to put it like that. That's what drives me, I haven't lost that desire to push beyond my limits or try and find those limits where I cannot do anymore. So we've got a small program for next year that we'll get back into some adventure racing, and before I hit the big 50. So
that's a big one.
We'll do a bit of racing. We'll do a bit of overseas racing next year, possibly with Uzwi, the Swedish team. So
been at it for over 20 years, captaining the side for so long, and the big 50 coming up.
Still 2 years. I need to put it out there. I'm not there yet.
That happens. That comes around very quickly. 2 years is really not a long time.
I think I get into the Grandmasters category at some points. The thing with adventure racing is adventure racing doesn't have your elite and then have your vets and your masters and your grandmasters. Everybody competes for the same thing, so everybody's on a level playing field. And talking about that is. The beauty with adventure racing or any endurance sport, from a male and a female perspective, I'm a firm believer any endurance sport is the biggest leveler from a male and female perspective. We have trail runners, we have adventure racers that the women are incredibly strong. The longer the races go, the more the women excel. And they are incredible. I mean, we've had incredible women racing for us. Hilary Pitchford, or Hilary Bruss, that's just done Fish. She did Fish River now, a paddling race, and they did incredibly well. We're not all spring chickens, but the thing from endurance sport is, if you want to, men are very strong. We're physically strong in the beginning of a race, but the longer the race goes on, women just start doing this. Whether it's I was talking to somebody recently about that, and what is that? What is giving that ability to the woman? Is it a mindset? Is it the physicality, or what it is? Men go out super hard in the beginning. We're physically strong. Very difficult for a woman to keep up with that physicality in the beginning. But the thing is, the longer these races go, 24 hours, 36 hours, 40 hours, 100 hours, women are just...
What is it?
I don't know if you could tell me. In my personal view is women are mentally incredibly tough. Women can manage themselves from a continuity perspective, and they manage themselves very well. And they are super tough. Mentally, I mean, I've raced with some incredible women, some incredible guys, but incredible women.
No, for sure. I mean, I think you're very close to the answer to that, because managing themselves really well and knowing when to go hard and not and
managing the team, because sometimes the team needs to slow down, especially in the beginning of the races where we are pushing super hard and we're making sure, because how these adventure races we start immediately, and it's amazing. You get 60 teams running out of the start of a race thinking that it's an Ironman that you're going to finish in about 5 hours, or 10 hours, or whichever Ironman is. But the thing is, we're going to go do this for 5 days, and we're running out there like it's an Ironman. Whereas that speed and power in the beginning is so fast, and then everything slows down a little bit, and that's where you're racing with the people that you're now around are the people that you're racing with. And when you're racing with some ladies that keep you in a maintained position, and they're saying, well, guys, just let's ease up, we've got a long way to go, that is so valuable.
I guess that's the balance and the leveler of everything. Have you ever had injury during the race, in the middle of the race, or any of your teammates? And how was getting through that?
Everybody gets injured, I assure you. But we were talking about this earlier before we started recording. One of the things is, and we spoke about, we don't remember all the victories that you've had. I don't. I mean, I can't tell you all the races we've won and all the successes that we've had from that perspective, but I can tell you every single race I didn't finish. I can tell you every race that I suffered hard, or I mean, suffering is inevitable. You're going to suffer in these races.
For sure.
But every race, like the one race that we did, it was very early in I think it was 2005 or somewhere there, where I actually didn't, I got really sick in the race, and I got a bit of a lung infection and all that sort of thing, and the team slowed down. We slept for 8 hours. I woke up and I was still not good. So I pulled out of the race. The team decided to carry on as a 3-person team, and which means they're unranked. Now I've put our team in a position that we were unranked, and we trained super hard for that. I remember that as clear as day. I remember that feeling where the rest of the team carried on, and I'm now in a vehicle and at a TA and stuff like that, and watching this team suffer without me, and suffering for no glory, for nothing. Everybody gets injured. I had an injury when we were out racing in Spain. I also had a knee injury there. I literally couldn't pedal my bike around, and I don't know what was going on. And I remember that race clear as day. It is those times that I don't know, from your perspective, maybe you can shed some light, but I remember every time I let the team down here. That is one of the biggest things, is those moments that you let your team down.
No, for sure. You think about it, it goes through your mind, it kind of haunts you for a really long time, and it's like you say, you mentioned a lot about mindset in this whole hour, and I think that's very true. What is your mindset when you are faced with those moments? How are you gonna approach it? How are you going to handle it while you are going through that? And they carried on with 3, and that's how you would have wanted it. You start something, you have to finish it. But just before we wrap up, I wanted to ask, in that situation, because it's a very interesting one, they are now 3, you had to pull out, you going through your thoughts and emotions. What are those thoughts and emotions actually?
Sure. Well, today, I promise you, and I still think about this often, was I really that sick? Was I really that injured? Because you remember, you recover. So once you recover, you start questioning yourself. Was I really that sick that I wasn't able to finish? The point is, from that perspective, is you're in that moment. You're in that moment where you're thinking, like, the team. Fortunately, I didn't necessarily need to make that decision. The team made that decision for me. Amazing. But the thing being is that you've let them down. They've traveled to get there. They've traveled all the sort of thing that goes with it. One of the biggest things from our team perspective, and I can't talk for all teams, but one of the biggest things from our team perspective, we don't blame anyone. You know, we're there together. We win together, we lose together. So that is quite a big thing, and that's not written anywhere. We haven't sat down and said, you know what, guys, this is what we do. It is, again, putting like-minded people into a race team to achieve a certain goal. It's going to hurt. We discussed this before the race. It's like, what is the team's objective? There's no point me arriving there and I just want to get a finisher's medal. And the rest of the team are wanting for a podium or racing for a top 10 or something like that. Because I'm there just for a t-shirt. You know what I mean? And the rest of the team are pushing hard because I'm not going to drill myself into the ground because
just for a t-shirt.
Just for a t-shirt. I'm here just to smell the roses and that sort of thing. Whereas they pushing as hard as they can. So it's important that we discuss beforehand what are we going to do, because if we push super hard, everybody knows they're going to hurt.
Yeah, no, synergy is important in a team sport. Second last question. What would you want people to take from your story and your sport?
I think the only thing I can, or the only thing that I would want somebody or people to, everything is possible. You know, it's that cliche that, you know, you're able to do it. I promise you, if you are surrounded by the right people, you will surprise yourself more than you will ever imagine. Put yourself into the position. Try it. Try and go and race through a night, even whether it's a mountain bike race or an adventure race. Go and race through the night. The biggest thing is arriving at the start line. When you're at that start line and you've made that decision, follow it through. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing. And it's same as my businesses. I'm surrounded with incredible people in that business, and they're all there for the same objective. If we have one person that's not there trying to push the same objective, it's never going to work.
No, for sure. I actually wanted to tap into those in the business side of things, because you have a lot that you have to balance from what you do in sport, your boys, and business. And it's just remarkable. And just the person that you are, I think your energy is infectious.
The energy is not always there, I promise you.
But always when I sit with you, at least I know that I'm leaving with a little nugget or two. So that's incredible.
I have to tell you, people deal with people and people feed off people. The right people around you, that's where the energy comes from. Put yourself in a position where you have the right energy around you. Once you've done that, and it's not always the case. Life is not always plain sailing. It always comes with the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows. And that's adventure racing. Ups and downs. You will go through highs and lows in a adventure race that some people will take 10 years in their life to experience. You will go into a compounded ups and downs in an adventure race where you think you are the best person out there, to right at the bottom where you think that you can go no further. And then you'll come out of that again. And then you'll be the top, and then you're the middle, and then you drop again. And that's compounded in that short period of time. And that's, I think, one of the biggest lessons that I've taken from adventure racing is that up and down experience happens in everyday life.
True.
But there's always that plateau. There's always that balance.
Nah, Mac, thank you so much.
It's been an experience.
I really appreciate it.
And I must tell you, in the years that I've known you, absolutely inspirational. I love watching you. I didn't watch Sevens rugby as much as I did, but when you are on that field and you're running around, you can ask my boys. I'm a big fan.
I've got tickets for you. You said
that's what I wanted.
Your first Cape Town Sevens, you gotta do it this year. But yeah, anyway, thanks, Mac.
No, it's an absolute inspiration.
Thank you so much for jumping on, and there's a lot that we can learn from what you do, and you do what you do because of the person that you are. And you also mentioned that having the people around you that inspire you, and as I said, your energy, your drive, your mindset is infectious to me and a lot of people around you. So keep it up. Thank you so much for the person that you are, and thanks for jumping on Unshakeable.
It's been an experience. I think if there's one thing I can leave for the audience and for you as well, is keep doing what you're doing, because you never know who you're inspiring. I think we get so closed or so narrow-minded and so with blinkers on. You're doing something that inspires somebody you don't even know, and that's an everyday thing. So just keep doing,
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Unshakable family, thank you so much once again for tuning in. I've enjoyed this hour with such a great human being whose mindset is just set apart and is a cut above the rest. So it's been so amazing to having him on here and to just share a conversation, chat a little bit about what he does and what it takes. And I'm sure we've got some takeaways that we can we've watched and we can take into life. So once again, thanks again for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you next time on the next episode. Cheers. What a guy. Thank you, Mac. Appreciate it.
It is my absolute pleasure. But I mean that, eh?
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into Unshakeable. If today's story moved you, inspired you, or gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about staying rooted when the world shakes. If you haven't already, hit follow, leave a review, and help us grow this community of resilient voices. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, stay unshakable.